A while ago, I stumbled across an article called How America Spends Money: 100 Years in the Life of the Family Budget. It was a fascinating article that compared the family budget from 2003 to 1900. And I wondered what that would look like if we went to our current time and then went all the way back to 1860. So first, I revised the graph and I made one for 2016. You can notice here that we have food, housing, clothing, healthcare, entertainment, other, and transportation. And our food, housing, and clothing is 37% of the budget. Now, the following graphs do not break out transportation. So I did the same graph without the transportation. In the Atlantic article, that's one of the things they mention on this 2003 graph, is that half of the other is transportation. So here you can see that our percentages have changed slightly. Our food's gone down a little in the last couple years. Our housing has gone down, and our apparel has gone down. So in 2003, we used 50% of our housing, food, and clothing. Right now, remember, it's 37%. Now let's go back to 1950. You'll notice that those three categories were significantly higher again in 1950. And now if we look at our total between food, housing, and clothing, it's now 70%, where currently it's 37%, and 2003 it was 50%. Let's go back a little further to 1900, and again, these are the three graphs from the Atlantic article. Our food, housing, and apparel is now 80% of our total budget. And now let's go back to 1860, our time. We notice that once again, food, housing, and apparel. Now here I have a little problem in that my housing number is actually the housing, and I have the other housing stuff in housekeeping. So my housing number is just your house and your fuel, and household goods is in the clothing number. So you kind of really have to look at the whole thing as a total. But you notice now our percentage is up to a total of 89% of your budget is used for food, housing, housekeeping, and clothing. Huge difference from our current number of 37. And fascinatingly, at least the food and the housing numbers look very similar to what we see currently in the developing world. But clothing is cheaper for all of us now. Hopefully you will find these graphs fascinating as I did, to give you another picture of what life was like in the 1860s. Thanks for watching. Bye.